Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. As usual, my name is Tiumba. You can also call me Aisha, which is my first name. So today I want to talk to you guys about the 3-minute thesis competition. If you've not heard about it before, I'm just going to talk to you about what it is, how to participate, why you should participate, and how I participated in it and what the outcome was and what my advice would be for anyone who is interested in participating. So I'm not going to waste a lot of time today. I don't have too much energy because I'm fasting. And yeah, so I'm just going to get right into it. Okay. So first of all, what is the 3-minute thesis? So this is a competition that originated from Australia. I don't remember which Australian university, but you can look it up. And basically, the concept of it is that you have to be able to explain your research to a non like specific audience in a span of 3 minutes. So you have only 3 minutes to tell people what your research is about, what a key takeaway from your research is. And usually, most graduate schools or programs have it like annually. So that's what 3-minute thesis is. It's a competition. So all across the world, most schools have it, especially for graduate students. But in my school, there's an opportunity for some undergrads to partake in this competition, but they have to be like of a particular group. So that would be like the honors program undergrads. So those are like super smart undergrads who are like in a special program to accelerate their development, I guess. It's kind of like Brilla, like the Brilla squad of undergrads, if you know what I mean, because I don't really know too much about, you know, honors programs. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that usually or typically it's for grad students. So whether you're doing like a master's or a PhD, you can participate in it. But I guess in some instances, undergrads are allowed to participate. Okay, so now that we know what 3-minute thesis is, let's talk about why you should participate because it's not compulsory. Okay, I'll say why I participated. So if you can relate to some of the reasons that I'm going to give, then maybe that's a good enough reason for you to also do the same. So for me, one of the key things I wanted to do during grad school, like I've always wanted to do, was to work on my presentation skills, like to be able to stand in front of a crowd and basically talk my shit. But that has been very challenging for me because I think I've said it before, but I'm an introvert, and also I always feel like things are exaggerated, like it's never that serious. Why am I standing in front of people to talk about my work, you know? And why should they listen to me? But my recent understanding of how academia and actually the world works is that closed mouths do not get fed, okay? So you have to be willing to um talk to people about what you do, about why it's important, and about why you are possibly like a good collaborator or, potential employee or whatever. So, yeah, basically, I wanted to work on my presentation skills. That was my number one reason. Where I did my master's, that program was incredibly great. And at a point where so it was a 3-year master's program. The first year was mostly coursework. This is WACBEP. You can Google it. It's an institute at University of Ghana that's like very renowned for their high quality education and research. So that's where I did my master's. And at a point where we had gone into our second year, I believe. No, we hadn't. We had gone into our second semester of the first year, I think. But basically, that semester was supposed to be doing more of like presentations and stuff like that. But unfortunately, COVID hit, so we all like went home for a long while. And then when we came back, We did get to do the presentations, but it didn't feel the same. We didn't do our proposal defenses in person. We had to do those things online. I even defended my final thesis online. So all of those things kind of took away from the experience of like, back to back presentations that would like hone your skills and things like that. So I missed out on that opportunity. And so my experience past that level, I've not really like I've had presentations, I've presented at journal clubs and stuff like that. But journal clubs are very scientific. So, and then they're not about your work at all. That's like you talking about like research other people have done, like opening up room for people to criticize it or to say what's like good and what's bad about those papers. So those are not about your work at all. So even though I've like presented in like other situations and things like that, I even have done poster presentations in the past and also maybe a talk, but yeah, long time ago. But still, those experiences didn't add up to a level where I felt like I was super comfortable presenting to people. So that's why I took up the opportunity to do a 3-minute thesis. And I would say that one of the challenges that came with that was not knowing how to like sound while presenting. Because for the most part, I think I'm like a very serious person, unfortunately. So it translates into everything that I do. So even when I was trying to like people said to be conversational during my presentation, I just didn't know how to be conversational. But yeah, I'll come into more of that later in this video. But yeah, so back to my reasons for enrolling into this competition this year. Majorly, I wanted to be like put myself in this situation where I had to learn how to present in order to like, win something, right? You get me? Because I feel like, yeah, that's like definitely a way to, pass. It's like throw yourself in water if you don't know how to swim, and then you find that you learn how to swim along the way. Okay. So that was a major, major reason. Secondly, it's just a booster. It's a thing that like these days I'm leaning more into like science communication because I don't know what I want to do after I graduate. So some of the things I'm exploring is science communication. So I feel like the more I can put on my CV about like what I've done towards science communication, the better it will be for me if I do decide to go that route. So that was another reason. It would be helpful to be able to say that, oh yes, I did participate in a 3-minute thesis and I was able to place at, this position or that position. So yep. And I would say the third thing was that there was money involved. Okay. There in my school, and I think in other schools as well, you are given some money if you land in like the top three. So I was hoping to win some money as well. The third place position for my school was going to be awarded a $150 cash. The second position was going to be $250, and then the third was going to be a $350 plus an all expenses paid trip to the regional competition that would happen. So this was going to be in our school, but the next level one was going to be like an inter-school situation, but within a certain region. So you'd get to fly um, all expenses paid to Indianapolis, and that's like a good avenue for you to network with other students and potential, you know, collaborators. It's also an opportunity for you to see some other part of the US that you probably haven't been to before at no expense. It was a no-brainer. Okay, guys. So yeah, those are my 3 reasons for participating. Maybe that would be something that you want to do based on these reasons, or you have your own reasons to do so or to not do so. But this is just food for thought. Okay, so let's talk about the structure of the minute thesis in my school. So for my school, we had it in 2 levels. The first level was a preliminary competition. And mind you, this competition is like open to everybody. So sciences, mathematics, whatever you're studying, sustainability development. I know there was even a lady who was in an education program, so she was talking about her research on like reforming curriculum. She did such a great job, guys. So yeah, basically, regardless where your like what your background is, you can participate. So that makes it again like kind of hard because imagine trying to explain like highly technical things to a level of understanding, and then someone else's project, is maybe not as technical, so they are better able to explain it. And then you have to compete with such a person. Come on. But yeah, it's a level playing ground. So whatever research you are doing, rocket science, it better be something you can explain to someone who is not a rocket scientist. So that was the basic structure. Then we had a preliminary level, and then beyond the preliminary level, they chose 5 people to advance to the top, like the next and final level. And there was 1 week in between, I think. So we had the prelims sometime in early February, I think, and then in late February we had the finals. And the other thing was that it was live streamed. The finals was like live streamed on Facebook, so you could have your family and friends, especially for like international students like myself who don't necessarily have people in the US or something, or necessarily have people in the same, like on the same campus or city that can come watch you. So I sent out the link to some of my family and friends to join, and they really also enjoyed listening. So shout out to the people who joined. Love you guys. Anyway, yeah, um, yeah, what was I saying? So it's like open to a general public is basically the point I was trying to make. So everybody's like welcome to join and listen and learn from. And it was also kind of crazy that people were like live commenting, right? I mean, after it's when I saw that people could live comment, and that's just funny because yeah. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. Yeah, that's it for the structure. I don't know how other schools structure theirs, but you can have a fair idea of like, I think in most competitions you have a prelims and then you have a, the finals or whatever. Yeah, and then beyond that, you can have a, I don't think we have a national TMT thesis, but we do have regionals. So I know that other schools also go to like a higher level of, you know, competition with other surrounding schools. So that's what happened in our case as well. So in our case, after the first 5 people are selected from the preliminary competition, you compete again and you are given the opportunity to modify your slide, to modify your speech, whatever else you want to change, modify how you present, anything at all. So then the finals, they have a top 3 and that's it. So like you have a first person, second and third. Then the first person can go and compete in the regionals. So like yeah, that's that. Now let's talk about what I did. Okay. So I knew last year that I wanted to participate in a 3-minute thesis, but I didn't have the opportunity to do so last year for a number of reasons. So I was very much on the lookout this year to participate. So the first thing that I did was to look at the website. Our school has a website dedicated to 3-minute thesis where they like give some information on, how it go down, who the past winners are, like why it's relevant for you to participate, what you need to know in advance to do so. They even send out emails beyond that to like be like, hey, 3-minute thesis is coming up, maybe in a month or in 2 months. So get ready if you want to participate. Okay. So yeah, that's what I did. I went to look at the website to find like relevant information about what I needed to do. But most importantly, I wanted to see who the winners had been, especially for the most recent one, which was like the 2024 version. So they usually publish the top 3 people who win, like their names and their departments. So what that tells you is that you are able to track down these people, not in like a weird, creepy way, but like you are able to find out who these people are and reach out to them. And the way usually, I think, at least in my school, email system works is that they use both your first and last name. So my name is Aisha and my surname is Mahama. So if you want to find me with the, my school email, all you have to do is start typing Aisha Mahama, and then that option will come up and you can directly email me. You don't need to know my email. So with that, if you know the first and last names, which are published online, you can go ahead and email those people. I think people are usually chill about these things. If someone were to approach me now to ask me about DMT, I don't mind. As long as you're not like creepy about it and like you go straight forward to what you want, you write out a very clear subject and just go straight to the point. So luckily for me, I didn't have to email anyone. I think it would have been, in retrospect, it would have been helpful for me to have emailed some other people, especially I guess the winner. But I didn't do that because I found out that from that website, I was able to find out that one of the people who were in the top 3 was my course mate. So I've taken some classes with her. She's like, I know PhD, you don't really have like a course mate system. What I mean is that we enrolled in the same year. So we took a couple of classes together and we are acquaintances. So I knew this person, so I went up to her office and I was like, "Hey, I'm interested in participating in this year's DMT. Can you like tell me, like, let's schedule some time so that you can talk to me about, how it went down for you and things like that." So she was very happy and willing to share that information. So I just sat with her, scheduled some time, sat with her, asked her a couple of questions. She placed third, and so I asked her, like, okay, so what did you do? Like, how do you think, you placed third? Like, what were the good things that you did that, because that is not a joke. Mind you, these are like you're competing against every single grad student who decides to participate in your university. So just think about that. Let me give you some context. And also think about the fact that they are in different programs altogether. And think about the fact that even your research is sometimes hard for you yourself to understand. So keep that in mind. And this lady was researching on Alzheimer's disease. So again, keep that in mind. So then I sat with her and I asked her, and she was very happy to help. She even showed me her slide. This was like what her slide looked like, and these were like the good things about her speech that she thinks, helped her move to that level. So majorly, she said she was very able to clearly communicate in very lay terms what she was doing or what she wanted to achieve with her research. And I saw her slide. I liked her slide. But for me, I felt like it was a little too complicated. Like her slide was a little too complicated. But I've listened to her presentations before. And so I understand when she says that, like, she was very clear in her speech because she is very concise and clear when she presents. And she's so conversational. Like, she doesn't present like Inspector Gadget, who is me. So she's very conversational when she is speaking. Okay, so from then I was like, oh, okay, cool. I also reached out to another lady who is also in my department, and she also participated, I think, that same year. And for her, she had very good slides, but I think she didn't have like the same way of presenting as the other lady did. So you see, not only do your slides have to be on point, your presentation skills matter. So I spoke to her as well, and I was like, okay, I have a good idea on like, what you did well and what you guys like, didn't do as great. And then the last thing I picked up from that conversation with them that I thought was super helpful was that I was able to ask them, okay, you placed third, right? Okay, so what do you think the person who placed first, did super well? And basically they said, well, I think they did really like basically the same things that I did, good slide, good presentation, but they were also very like they were much more passionate about the research they were doing. Like they put some energy into it. They were very like, this is super great. This is the best thing in the whole world. All of you should be on this kind of thing with me. Do you understand? So yeah, so I thought I had, I had acquired enough information from these like mini interviews with these guys, so I could just go and work on my own to do my own stuff and hope for the best. In retrospect, like I said, I think I should have still reached out to the first person and just gained some insights. It's one thing for someone to tell you about another person, it's another thing altogether to talk directly to that person. So that's what I should have done, but I didn't do that. Okay, let's move on. The next thing you should do is to seek permission, because in as much as this is like an abbreviated version of your research is still, for the most part, supervised by somebody who is being funded. So you should talk to your supervisor, and maybe, I don't know, maybe some schools don't require you to talk to your committee or something. I don't know. But in my case, all I needed to do was talk to my supervisor. They also very clearly said that on the website that you need to seek permission. You can't just take, you know, someone's hard-earned work, which they needed funding for, to go and I talk about this. No, you don't do that. So that's what I did. I spoke to my supervisor and he agreed. He was like, yeah, go for it. Like, keep me posted, go for it. So yeah, after seeking permission, I also had to check my calendar to be sure that I could handle it, because bro, grad students barely ever have time for anything. You have to make the time, and if you can't make it, like, you have to prioritize. If we're clashing very like heavily with something that was non-negotiable, obviously I couldn't have done it. So I also had to look at my calendar, and then most importantly, not just looking at like, okay, when is the preliminary competition, when is the final competition, but also if I win, because I was working to win, if I have to travel, do I have the time to do so? What experiments will be affected? Because again, you need to prioritize. In grad school, what I've learned is that you need to differentiate between what you need to happen and what you want to happen. And as much as some things are important, some other things are more important. So do with that information as you will. So after checking my calendar, and I figured, oh, okay, well, this and that day perfectly works for me. I can move some things around to make sure that it works, and I am available. I then moved forward. So the next thing that I did was to watch a lot of videos on mini thesis competitions, not just in my school, literally worldwide. I watched so many videos. Like, I was looking at how they were presenting, I was looking at what they presented on, especially when it came to like science topics, because bro, the struggle is real. It's not easy to explain science topics at all. So yeah, I watch, like, especially people who won in their schools. I watch a lot of their competitions, right? Like, just look at their body language, look at how they're using the stage, look at how they're talking, look at their slide, right? So that gave me a lot of, context and information, and just like made me very aware of some things. As you keep watching, your eye becomes more tuned, you see things into more details, and you can almost always, at a point, spot the winner before the competition is over at Jubab. So that helped me a lot. And then you also have to go for the info session that your school will hold for the 3-minute thesis, because they did hold one in my school and I went for it, and very helpful. I got to ask some questions. I got to also listen to like what their expectations were in general. And then also, I also got to, at the time I didn't know it, but I got to see one of the judges. Oh, pencil. But yeah, I could see one of the judges. It's not anything, but it's like, when you have a presentation or something, like, just take all the pluses you can gather. It just makes logical sense, right? It's like going to like war and having a gun but deciding not to pick up a knife. You never know, just grab it. Who knows? So yeah, I went for those info sessions, because who knows? And yeah, those are also helpful. I got to see some of the other contestants. So yeah, also just have an overview of it. It's not like anything, but like, just see, okay, these number of girls or these number of boys, that kind of thing. Or like, oh, what's like their background? What am I coming up against? Do you bad news? Do you understand? So yeah, I did that, and then the next step was to practice, 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 practice. Mind you, at the prelims, yeah, I had such a busy week. I don't even remember exactly, but I think I had an exam of sorts. And then I don't remember exactly what happened in February. But yeah, bro, I remember I was so hot because by the time I got to that competition, I think I had been preparing for it seriously for like 3 days maximum. And even during those 3 days, I had like some other stuff going on. So, well, yeah, I remember I was very stressed out at the time that I had, gone for it. And then that day, I would also just say dress appropriately because, bro, it was supposed to be indoors. So I didn't know why it was cold. But what was I wearing? I was wearing a long sleeved shirt, but it wasn't blouse, excuse me. But it wasn't like it was like this, like the cutters on my arm. It wasn't all the way here. And I remember feeling very cold, and I get very cold super easily. And I had my jacket there, but imagine I knew I couldn't have worn my jacket on stage, right? So I would say dress appropriately. Depending on how you are, maybe even go scope out the room or something at some point. Yeah, I think I should have done that too, just to see what's the temperature like and then dress accordingly. If you're like me who gets cold easily, layer up, okay? Because I felt cold and then I was just literally like my teeth were saturated. I'm like, bro, this is not it. I still had to pull through with it. And so I remember like the first competition, I landed in the top five, but I knew I could do better because I forgot some of my lines at some point. Not like long stretches of my lines, but I just knew like, bro, this was not 100%. This was maybe like 80. You're lucky you got into top five. But yeah, I also didn't use the stage as much. I don't think I had a video in the first. Maybe I did. I'm going to try to put like the preliminary competition there, and then I'll put the post at the finals, and then you see the difference. Like I can literally say that I grew between those two instances, and it wasn't even like much time between the two, mind you. But yeah, as I was saying, so I was cold, I was busy, um, but I still showed up and I did my best. And yeah, I would say my performance that day was 80%. It wasn't 100, maybe a little higher than 80, but it wasn't 100. And I also got to see those other people perform. And I think I was like last but one to perform. And it was just very eye opening. Like, I don't want to ruin this for you, but I instantly knew who would be my like a top competition. At least two other people beside for me. I knew who was going to be like super tough to beat. So yeah, that was the first round for you. And then the second round came in. This time in between, I even took a road trip. I took a almost 5 hour road trip. Me, but mind you, during that trip, I was practicing. So and it was nice because I got to practice with someone. So I kept like saying, "What do you think? What do you think?" That kind of thing. And the feedback I kept getting was that you sound mechanical, like Inspector Gadget. And I'm like, this is me. Like I'm serious everywhere and all the time. I don't know how to like let loose and be spontaneous or be conversational. So that was really, really, really tough for me. I feel like this light behind me is like, but I don't know what to do. I think it's okay though, right? We'll manage. Anyway, yeah. So that was the feedback I was getting, which is also a good thing. Like try to get feedback from different people, especially people in non-science background. Which reminds me, I think I remember clearly in the before the prelims, I made my slide and then I shared it with my Snapchat people. So shout out to the people on my Snapchat. You guys are the real OGs. Thank you. So I shared it to these guys and I was like, you guys should tell me what do you think is going on with my slide? Like what do you think I'm trying to say? And the feedback was interesting because some people were able to say, okay, I think this is what you're doing, but other people were so like off. And then I know that some people also didn't want to participate because they didn't want to sound like dumb or anything. But literally, I It wasn't a matter of being smart. It was just a matter of how able I was to communicate my work. Okay. So I'm very thankful to the people who were able to like give me feedback because it was super, super helpful. I think I broke my slide down to like at least 3 times. At least 3 times. Before I finally got to a point where I was like, okay, fine, this is understandable. So yeah, thank you guys. So the point is feedback, feedback, feedback. So even though the Snapchat one was feedback about my slide, I needed to also present to other people to get their feedback, right? Yeah, so that was super helpful. How did I overcome this whole Inspector Gadgets presentation mode? Hmm. I listened to like TED Talks about how to make a presentation, how to give a presentation. And then I think the thing that eventually clicked in my brain was that the person said, you have to present like you speak. So don't present like, you get me? I don't know if that clicks in your brain as well, but for me, it's like, oh, why do you guys say so? Like, you have to present like the way you talk. You cannot present like I don't know, like anybody higher than that. Do you get me? Like, don't use weird English. Don't like, yeah. I know because when you get into like this presentation mode, you kind of sound like some way be, and then because you rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, again, it makes you sound like robotic almost. That's me anyway. But yeah, when I realized I have to present the way I talk, it changed the game for me because then I was like, oh, okay, what would I say as opposed to being like the blah 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 blah. What would I say to my friend, right? And yeah, guys, that was it. So take that advice from me as well. Present the way you speak. Don't present any other way. Game changer. So that's what I did. And then I practice, 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 practice. But every time I practice, I stopped practicing lines. I just practiced speech, delivery. Do you get me? So I wasn't like trying to memorize it. I was just trying to get familiar with it and like basically assume I was having a different conversation with different people every time I presented. That was great. So I also did some last minute presentations because the day I posted the link to my family and friends that hey, I'm participating in this. Shout out to my friends and my family, bro. People called me immediately and were like, okay, are you ready? Do you need to present some more? Yeah. And then I did for some people, I was able to present and they're like, oh, you know what? I really understand your work now and I'm going to be there to cheer you on. So that was really, really massive support. Guys, I have the best team, let me just say. But yeah, so if you don't have people like that, I would say you should reach out to like people on your social media, maybe make a poll. I don't know how wide you want to cast your net, but the wider the better. If you really mean business, I think you should go all out. Like I don't go to do things that I feel like I'm going to lose. I don't do those things. If you play stupid games, you win stupid prices. If you're going for something, go with it wholeheartedly. So that's what I did. And then the final day came. This time I knew that the room is cold for me. So I layered up. I literally wore like a long sleeve like this. And then I wore my actual like blouse on that. I also doubled up on my, trousers underneath. I wasn't taking any chances. And so this time around, I was comfortable. So yeah. And then also I was the first to present. Can you believe that I was the first to present? Hey. Hmm. And then I just thought, yeah, being a first to present has its pros and cons. I don't know, whatever, bro. I was just like, okay, fine, let's do it then. Let's do it. What am I gonna do? Let's do it. And so we did it, And who got to vote? So the judges voted. There were 3 people. Interestingly, one of them the day before had helped, like they were open to helping anybody at all, like make your slides better. So that was also helpful because she just made some minor changes that really elevated my talk. But it was open for everybody, and most people took advantage of it. So it wasn't like I cheated or anything. Everybody got to do that with their own slides. And it was very interesting to see her among the judges. And she was a very supportive person, not just for me, but for all the other contestants, right? she'd be like nodding and be like, yeah, yeah, like you go girl, that kind of thing. And that was really nice. And that was another thing. All the contestants were like super nice to each other. Like it wasn't any weird vibe at all. Like everybody was like giving constructive feedback, especially after our first round. People would like, oh hey, like I really liked your talk, and I'd also be like, oh hey, I like this about your talk. I felt like you could have done this better. Because at the end of the day, we're all like just grad students. Like it's never that serious, guys. You guys need to chill. So don't go into competitions being all like, I don't know, jealous of your other competitors and everything. Like just go with an open mind. Go like it's you versus you, right? Do your best. Okay. And you can obviously learn from other people. If someone wasn't moving like on the stage as much and I saw that, I would have been like, oh yeah, let me advise myself. When it's my turn, I'm not going to do that. But not like withhold compliments or like be like nasty to somebody else. No, mm-mm. That's not acceptable. So yeah, competition day came by and I placed second, guys. I was second. Yeah. How did I feel? Well, I think I mentioned before that's the first person. Like there were some two people I knew that oh, okay, these people are like super on like to something here and they could possibly win. One of them won. So I wasn't too surprised. I was like, yeah, that girl was super good actually. Like she was really incredibly good. From the very beginning, she was super good. She had it nailed down. But she also made some few mistakes that I feel like if I had, what do I think I didn't do? I think some people said I should have moved on the stage more. You know, I tried. But I feel like she also made a few mistakes that if I had probably upped my level even more, I could have beat her. But at that point, I couldn't fathom how else I could have upped my level. Plus, I was the first person. No excuses. I gave it my best, and she gave it her best, and her best was better. So yeah, she won. So that was it. I placed second, and I got my $250. And then, yeah, competition was over. But just when I thought like, oh, okay, all is said and done, like she was going to go to Indianapolis, she went. They sent an email to be like, hey, top three winners for this 3MT. We're going to have another one. I'm like, hmm? Mind you, we had the finals, I think on the 28th of February, and then we were called to have it again on April 8th. Imagine what that time passing does to you. Like I've moved on. Like I've moved on. Thank you for the opportunity, but I've moved on. But we couldn't really say that. So we were like, okay, let's see how that goes with our calendar. But that day came and we all showed up to do it again. And and this time they added the undergrads. Okay, so they added undergrads on the honors program as I was saying. Three undergrads and three of us grad students, the top three. This time around, I didn't even take it too seriously. Like I didn't start rehearsing my lines till like the day before. Cause bro, like I've moved on. I had my comprehensive exams to think about. After that, I have like hella exams on my one of my final course that I'm taking that was like literally boiling my brain. And I'm doing my experiments, trying to catch up with the semester, and you're telling me to go do 3 minute thesis again. But yeah, I started practicing the night before, then I showed up. And we had a competition again. And guess where I placed? I was first, guys. First, number one. Number one. Let that sink in. Number one. I was so impressed by myself. I was like, you don't say. Okay, this time the judges were also different. They were also like all non-science backgrounds. They were different people. And I was like, huh, okay, what did I think I did differently this time? I think I was much more settled in myself. Like because I didn't practice for so long, like I was just okay, we're just gonna wing this, but we know what we were going to say. And my slides, guys, from the beginning, I knew I had the best slides. I had the best slide. What I wasn't having was I couldn't shake my Inspector Gadget self like completely. That was the only problem. So this time, I think because I didn't practice too much, I didn't even have enough time to practice too much. So yeah. And also, unfortunately for the other lady who won first the first time, I think that she was very, very tired. She said like she traveled and for the finals and everything, and it wasn't so great. Like she had to her flight was delayed for long periods of time and things. And plus, guys, come on, it's been a while. It's been like a long time. Okay. But the undergrads did impressively well also. So, but yeah, the girl was first. I mean, what about it? Yeah, I was first, guys. Come on. Of course. I'm joking. But yeah, I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I was first. And this is something I can put on my CV now. Yes. Okay. That's it. I don't have anything else to say. Yeah, I'm depleted. I'm tired. It's been a long day. Today's the last day that I'm fasting. So for now, I'm thankful. I'm very thankful. I hope that I will come and share more tips with you guys on how to, you know, navigate grad school for as long as I'm in grad school and hopefully, inshallah, beyond grad school. Um, Please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. Tell me if you want to participate in a 3-minute thesis. Tell me if you found this video helpful. Tell me if you have any questions that I can help you with, and tell me if you learned anything. Okay. I'm also going to be posting snippets of the prelims and the finals. As for the other one that we had most recently, the one I got first in, I don't have videos of the final one, but I just remembered that I have the certificates, right? So let me grab the certificates. Yeah. Okay. So you see, this was the first one where I placed second. Do you see? It says 3MT right here. Congratulations, 2025, blah blah blah. Second place. All right. And then this was the most recent one. Do you see? This place. Yep. So that's it. That's all I wanted to show you guys. Again, I look forward to more conversations with you guys. I want this to be interactive. The purpose of my channel is to build a community of students who help other students, especially students who look like me, who come from similar backgrounds, or people who just have something to that they can relate with in my videos. So thank you for spending the time to listen to me yap. Hopefully it's been enjoyable for you as well. Bye guys, see you again.
HIV reservoirs in the brain.
If you gave me $1 every day since HIV was first discovered, I would be $15,000 richer today. The goal of my research here at USD is to discover a lasting cure for HIV. And this is because the virus has been very successful at evading both our immune system and current treatment strategies. When HIV first infects a person, it immediately finds hiding spots within our body. And while in hiding, it stays quiet in a stage known as latency. However, when conditions are favorable, the virus immediately gets reactivated and causes new infections. Our brain is built much like the fortress of Troy to selectively permit substances in or out. And so inadvertently, it serves as one of the hiding spots for HIV. Now, current treatment strategies against the virus are like the Greek soldiers. While they are out in the open, they are very effective at killing HIV. However, because they are unable to penetrate into our brain, they are not as effective when it comes to HIV infection in the brain. Now, this means that the 40 million people worldwide living with HIV today have to stay on anti-HIV drugs their entire lives. And not only does this impose a huge economic burden on such people and their families, but it also exposes them to a wide range of adverse side effects such as heart disorders. In our lab, we've been able to identify a potent HIV drug candidate, and we are hoping to cover our drug with a cell membrane that is both compatible and can penetrate into the brain, thereby creating a Trojan horse. This will trick our brain into allowing the drug in to fight or execute its function. Other brain diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease face a similar roadblock when it comes to getting drugs into the brain. And so when our Trojan horse approach works, not only will we be able to overcome HIV infection in the brain, but we'll also be able to translate our findings to support research into other brain diseases. Thank you.
Let me tell you a story. 3,000 years ago, the Trojans and the Greeks were meshed in a long war with no winning side. The Trojans lived in a fortress whose walls were so strong that no army could breach. After 10 long years, the Greeks devised a clever plan to win this war. They built a massive wooden horse, and inside this horse, they hid their soldiers. They then placed this horse right in front of the fortress. Now the Trojans saw this horse but thought that it was a peace offering gift, and so they ushered the horse into their fortress. That night, while they slept, the Greeks crept out of the horse, slaughtered their enemies, and won the war. Fast forward to present day 2025. In our lab, we are attempting to build our own Trojan horse to overcome HIV, an enemy we've battled for 40 long years. But don't get me wrong, immense effort has gone into HIV research since the virus was first discovered. We know what the virus looks like, we know how it grows, and we know how it spreads. And all of this knowledge has been translated into very effective therapies. But just when we thought we knew everything about HIV, we discovered that it hides. What a coward. Or what a genius. You see, HIV doesn't just hide anywhere at all. It hides in the most protected part of our body, the brain. Our brains are built very much like the fortress of Troy to allow only certain substances in. Our current HIV treatments are like the Greek soldiers. They are very effective at fighting the virus while it's out in the open. But what happens when the virus hides in the brain? Because our drugs are not able to reach in there, unfortunately, the brain becomes a sanctuary for HIV. But this is where my project comes in. Because in our lab, we've identified a promising new HIV target that targets HIV-infected brain cells. But here's the catch. Our drug by itself does not enter the brain. But if we create a Trojan horse by disguising our drug within the coat of a cell that enters the brain, we'll be able to deceive our brains into allowing the drug in. Once inside, our drug can destroy HIV and grant us a lasting cure to a virus that has plagued our world for far too long. Thank you.